Washamini, you might remember me from such movies as, is that a box cutter in your hand, or are you just happy to see me? You know, as an Iranian American, you can't help but feel the power. My God. $1 trillion war right there. I would never, but it's in my blood, I think. I feel the forever war every time I pass a box cutter. Now, let's just put that away because, let's be real, box cutter is a vertical farmer's best friend. So a home farmer needs hydrogen peroxide. That's the ticket. You need something to kill things. And then you need something to grow things. Kill the bad things, grow the good things. We got a simple plastic jug. We got 3 tablespoons, the big guy, of, this is a organic radish. And we're going to be growing this for its myrosinase, an enzyme. Okay? We got a simple super simple setup. Standard 10 by 20 flat. And greenhouse. This one is this shallow or full length? I think this is shallow. This is just to catch your water, basically. And then we have the piece de resistance, which is your mesh bottom flat. This should be deeper in your setup. I'm a professional though. I can wing it. You, young Padawan, have much to learn. Now here is the magic piece to microgreen growing, okay? Get yourself some ideally organic or non-bleached paper towels. Cut them up so that they just are the smallest size you can get them, right? To where they match the interior of the mesh box. We're going to get that wet. Get your head out of the gutter. The tray is getting wet, the paper's getting wet, and then we're going to form it to the bottom of the mesh bottom tray. Alright, so I'm just going to get my handy dandy watering can out here. I'm going to do hot water, as hot as it can go, because the initial germination process, there's always a germination phase and then the growth phases. And you want warm, hot conditions, warm, humid conditions for like the first 24 hours. That typically expedites your, encourages or maximizes the number of seeds that germinate. This is not working, so we're just going to do cold water. It is what it is. We can put this somewhere warm in the sun, or we can put it on a heating pad as well if you don't have warm water. But warm water is a hack to getting your germination going. Now, I'm also going to add hydrogen peroxide. 5 gurgles is plenty. But the nice thing is with hydrogen peroxide, this is 3%, this is from your standard, 99 cents at your standard pharmacy. And when it dissolves, it kills whatever you're trying to kill. Or, to be honest, at 3%, you're basically suppressing. So you're just keeping things at bay. 30% kills, but that's dangerous and you can't buy it at the grocery store. 3% keeps things clean and it dissolves into oxygen. So you're releasing oxygen into the root zone and it's always good. So you can't have too much of it. You could honestly just use this if you wanted to, but it's a little wasteful. So what we're gonna do is get the bottom tray wet and form-fitted and flat. And we're gonna start by just in the center and then moving across. And this lets our thing dry and wet and stretch itself across the bottom of your tray. And you don't have to do anything. It's a great hack because once the paper towel, you save a ton of money on the paper towels. They are a dime a dozen to get. You can get them anywhere. But once they get wet, they become really hard to move around. So you have to have them form fit as well as possible. And then you just basically bang out the corners, splash the corners, oops. Anything the tray can't hold, it'll just seep through. Now we want a 2-inch bottom because our 1 inch is already pooling up and it's not helpful. Okay, so I feel great. This looks perfect. It's sealed to the bottom basically. It's not going anywhere. Don't do that. And now the key is when planting your seeds, you need to use the bounce. You got to measure your weight out pre-planting, and then you have to drop them in such a way that they bounce a little bit and spread out. Because it's really easy if you go too low to clump your seeds. And then once they're wet, forget it. You're not moving them easily. You can, but it's never the same. Some plants like basil, it's impossible. It feels like it. And so this is like the biggest kind of piece of art. If you can just get, a hack is to use a spice shaker, but it just takes long. I just let them fall kind of out of the bottom of my fingertips like a trough as I am shaking my hand back and forth. And this gives me a pretty good spread. Nothing's perfect, but it does speed things up a lot more than, you get perfect distribution out of a seed shaker, but it'll take long as well. And then you can go the other way. And again, this is 3 tablespoons of radish seed, which is medium density planting. And get them in there. Now, once seeds get wet, the clock starts. So you're not to get your stored seeds wet ever. You'll ruin them immediately. And each goddamn seed here is the entire lineage of this plant. You can take this into space and it'll still plant. And you can then grow 100 more of these radishes by getting this seed, and then you can have a forest of radishes from one seed. So don't waste that precious genetics. Now, we did not bring a spray bottle, but we need to spray the top of these, and then we're going to just seal them off, and we're just going to store them, and in about a day, 2 days, you're going to see great even germination, and then you can keep this fed a couple different ways, and the roots will start penetrating through into the water, and you will have perfect microgreens with very low effort and almost zero setup and maintenance. When the time comes, if you're growing past a week, you can add a little bit of worm cast fertilizer. You just want a micromineral mix, basically. You can also do organic liquid fertilizers. Add it to your trough, and you can just add it to the bottom of your tray, as I'll show you guys as this thing progresses. So keep track of this one. I'll show you every day what's going on, and then we're going to get a bigger system with 5 of these and lights, and we're going to grow basically a bunch of microgreens and get them to a local restaurant in Charlotte here. Of course, and then we'll also, the whole point is show you how to grow all these plants so you can grow indoors, in an apartment, it doesn't matter, and then what you can do with them. All the dishes you can make, all the ways you can make money off it, all the tips and tricks, everything we know about indoor growing, we're going to share for home use, we're going to share on this channel. And we're going to get into some really cool stuff. We're going to get into aquaponics, we're going to get into barn farms and basement conversions and greenhouse farming and an entire interconnected ecosystem approach to agriculture that, when fine-tuned, when engineered properly, produces an abundance of food. It's wild. And the cool thing is, so we're gracious, Get Gracious is our website, and that's where you can get our first line of products, which is a supplement line, starting with sulforaphane. This radish, when you eat it with broccoli or any cruciferous plants, Brussels sprouts, anything like that, if you eat this microgreen with that dish, you will get more myrosinase, and you'll get more sulforaphane made. And sulforaphane is like this incredible molecule. Go check it out. If you have any health condition, go check it out. Basically, it helps address the problem of so many people's chronic illnesses, which is chronic chemical exposure. There's tens of thousands of chemicals they've built up over the last 50 years. They're in 100% of us. And just microplastics alone leach BPA into your blood, which forces obesity. So we have this whole obesity problem in America that we don't know is being caused by everything we touch, basically made from a modern chemical. It's a big problem. That sulforaphane is super important in helping it. And you can make more sulforaphane when you eat this with your broccoli. And we're going to keep going, and we're going to show you guys how to do indoor fish farming. We're going to show you guys how to do mushroom cultivation, make your own baby puree. Basically everything we're growing in our vertical farm. So we're converting office towers into farms, and they're going to produce all sorts of products, like a dozen products. The thing is, we can only grow the ones that we can sell. There's a lot of other cool stuff you can grow for yourself at like reasonable cost that is sometimes cheaper now that the pricing is crazy, that you can't grow commercially. But there's like so many products, probably 100 products for everything we can grow commercially for a profit to pay for everything. It's very expensive. You can grow at home like 10 to 100 different types of stuff. So very exciting. And the cool thing is about the microgreens, they're like little supplements. The supplements we grow are like much stronger, but they require an insane level of diligence. It's like FDA regulated in every way, and USDA. This stuff, because of the way once you harvest it, and the fact that they're bigger plants, they're a little less dense in compared to our supplements, but they're much more dense than like the whole head of radish, because all the good stuff is concentrated in the early days. That's basically one of our principles at Gracious. And so we maximize the molecules in the end product, the powder that we end up selling. And microgreens are a way for you to do that at home safely, and you can mix and match. There's lots of interesting molecules identified in a wide variety of microgreens, and this one is just the myrosinase. But if you grow broccoli, you'll get the glucoraphanin. When those things combine in your stomach, they produce sulforaphane, so you can increase your sulforaphane, DIY. Again, there's just no way to get it as good as our product, but this is a great way. And then you can do, there's gonna be so many products. Okay, we're gonna do energy products, we're gonna do protein products, we're gonna do all sorts of fun recipes, including infant puree and a lot of cool things. Okay, so with that, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you ask any questions in the comments, please. Of course, you can go to getgracious.com and learn about sulforaphane and get, I think it's 85% off your first month. So it's directly from the farm to the door, and it's literally what we're using to put into our chronic disease pill we're working on. It's the starting blocks of that process, but you can buy it now and support our vertical farming, of course. We're working on site selection in the Southeast right now to find a 100,000 square foot building. We can be like our first and probably our global headquarters for Gracious. But the goal is to very quickly put a farm in every state, because every state's local food economy is a little bit different. The farm inputs, their needs will be a little bit different, and so a farm needs to kind of match that. And it's, I don't know if you know this, but it's getting a little dicey out there. And we started this 20 years ago because it was obvious something was going to require us to build a ton of indoor farming space in a short amount of time. And here we are. So 50 farms is like nothing. We need 5,000 farms in America. And we're going to basically streamline the process, show everyone what it is, how valuable it is, how important it is, how profitable it is, how fun it is, how nutritious it is, all this great stuff. We're going to produce all sorts of cool stuff. Every farm, our goal is to have a free childcare center. Our pledge is to have a free childcare center for the employees. There'll be a retail spot on the bottom to buy everything the farm grows. And then, of course, the supplements will be grown to finance the whole thing. But there'll be, lots of training, and like each of the first 7 are going to be like agritourism hubs where you can come and check it out. Have a meal, have a friggin' salad with tilapia, or in this case, we're going to add rainbow trout. It's a local North Carolina fish, and mushrooms, and it's going to be a great fucking meal. The best food you've ever had, you haven't tasted yet, because it's been grown. It has to be grown in an indoor farm. When you grow food in an indoor farm, excuse me, tilapia from your own farm tastes better than any fish you will ever have. The fresh factor is off the charts. And then when you have greens from an aquaponics system where you're feeding them fish fertilizer, you're getting a biodynamic biome in the tank, in the hydroponic systems, that is what ends up feeding the plants. And bacteria make perfect plant fertilizer. I don't know if you've noticed how precise nature is, but at the atomic scale, it doesn't mix, okay? And so aquaponics produces very rich flavors. It's like unbeatable. Because a farm next to your house that's producing without the plants, with this kind of ecosystem approach, is already amazing. And then you lock it in with the fact that the plants, they don't have to fight all the fucking elements. So they have all this energy to put into themselves, and they're fed exactly what they want. And this just leads to, in the nutritional case, a ton of flavor and aroma. But then those molecules are sensitive and delicate, and they're proxies for nutrition and vitamins and enzymes and all the good stuff. If you kill the smell and the flavor, you usually kill what you're trying to get, which is also why you've never smelled one of your supplements before. If you've ever smelled supplements, if they work, they taste like shit and they smell like trash because they have to make it so potent to get a little bit into you. These are supplement ingredients before us are like dirty sludge and like chalk dust. They're completely chemical products. They're completely over-synthesized, inert. These people lie like you wouldn't believe. It's insane. I thought vertical farming was corrupt, as you can see from all the bankruptcies. No one knows what they're doing, even though they promised the world. Meanwhile, I couldn't raise $1 because I was trying to fund R&D, research and development, and then I fucking figured it out. And the only way to do vertical farming, you fucks, they spent $15 billion. They wasted, burned that industry. $15 billion. They can't even grow fucking lettuce. You know how many kids we could have fed? You know how many startups we could have had? You know how much success? All I would have needed, Jesus Christ, $1.5 billion, and I would have vertical farming everywhere in the country. Do whatever you want with the rest of it. That's insane. You don't need that much money. Because when you do it right, the supplements, which they can't grow, because they don't know how to grow shit, fund everything. So the money's in the supplements. The food is for humanitarian purposes. It's like marketing or something. It helps us lower the cost of selling the supplements, which in turn helps the whole thing. It's not the product. Not yet, anyway. And so these guys, they can't even grow lettuce. It's insane. It's insane. And I have, if you want to go read my free memoir, I guess I'll link it here. I am technically America's first commercial vertical farmer. That's why I'm so bitter, okay? I was first, they all stole everything from me, and then raced and got psychopath co-founders who raised tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. All these guys that are failing right now, it was a psychopath finance bro and a weak engineer. And they just formed and they just got tons of money. And meanwhile, I'm like, I have a solution. And I'm like, excuse me. Meanwhile, I was working in windowless labs for 15 years. This is another reason I'm feral. I have been working in abandoned facilities, in basements, in abandoned meatpacking plants, basements of, even before that was basements of, when it was, the good old days were basements of physics departments. So for 20 years, I've been in a windowless lab, basically, and just solving the problem. It was either chase credentials, like a PhD, to then go solve the problem, be accepted, be funded, be helped, or solve the problem. Because back then too, it was like, when is climate shift actually going to happen? Nobody fucking knows when it's going to start. They were saying 100 years ago. We're in it, man. It started. I don't know if you can tell, but precipitation patterns are shifted. And so very soon we're going to have huge swaths of farms. It's easy to believe you would have huge swaths of farmland that are all of a sudden getting more moisture than they're set up for, and other swaths getting less moisture than they're set up for. And you can't just move dirt. Needless to say, you don't want to, because the dirt in America, on the planet, is fucking disgustingly contaminated. If you ate a spoonful of dirt, you're like getting 100 years of like carcinogen. It's so bad. Once you start testing seeds that come out of dirt, you're like, oh my God, what is on the seed? We got seeds, organic seeds, in an organic farm. It doesn't matter. Do planes avoid organic farms, or do they just fly over? If you're a flat earther, this actually applies to you too. Either way, they fly directly over, and you know, these fucking people, everyone's worried about, what's that conspiracy they believe? Chemtrails? Like, dude, you're worried about chemtrails? Everything is a chemtrail. The amount of BPA, you get enough BPA in America in 2 days to induce obesity. It's happening every week. You're fighting off obesity in America. Every week you are fighting off obesity in America. If you don't have the right genes, you're fucked. And if you're poor and you're getting cheap food, you're double fucked. Period. And those microplastics in everybody, doesn't matter how rich you are, you got microplastics in your fucking reproductive organs right now. Isn't that insane? We all have them. That's insane. No one's really appreciated what that means, because when they melt, when this plastic melts, it literally is slow dripping BPA or plasticizers, hormone disruptors, obesogenic hormone disruptors, the most common of which is BPA, bisphenol A, and it is the strongest known obesity inducer. It's what they use in labs to get the mice obese fast enough to do their experiments on. It's so vicious, and it is the reason you have Americans with 200 pounds of extra fat on them. Think about this. This just hit me like months ago. I've been down this rabbit hole for years now, over five years on the chemical thing. So I'm still new to this shit, okay? I come from vertical farming, and then I discover what sulforaphane does, and I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. And then I keep going, and it's just horrendous. You have 200 pounds of extra body fat on you. Why would you ever get starving or hungry, especially for rich food? Your body, when you eat a ton of fatty steak, eventually you're like, Jesus Christ, get this fucking thing away from me. I'm stuffed. It went from being delicious to disgusting, you know, if you have like too much bristle and stuff. That first bite of bristle though, woo! 10th bite of bristle, you're like, okay, all right, I need to. And it's because your body got what it can use in a reasonable amount of time. It doesn't need any more. Not now, anyway. It's regulating hunger. And for a 400-pound person, which is millions of probably in America, hundreds of thousands of, these people are poisoned. They are BPA-induced obesity. There's no way your brain would tell you to go build an axe, go chop a tree down, and bring me wood. I'm not going to use this enormous pile of perfectly dried, ready to go firewood right here. Why would I do that? Go chop a wet tree down, and we're going to dry it, and then we're going to... It would never do that. But BPA is a hormone disruptor, so it fits into and jiggles into two specific hormone sites. One is what triggers your body to produce fat cells. Once fat cells are made, there's another process that stuffs them with energy, lipids and cholesterol. It's building material, if you will, and energy. And it just slams on the on button. So you're fucking beyond, before your brain doesn't see this process basically, and it induces, what do they call it? Your stem cells. They were just sitting there. They could be turned into anything to just be cranking out fat cells. And then those fat cells end up getting engorged because of the same process. So they just get shoved into. Where does all that lipid and cholesterol come from? It comes from your calories every day. So your brain is not seeing that your body is putting way too many calories into fat storage. Okay, that'd be fine if you could access it. That same fucking BPA goes into and blocks the receptor in your brain that the hormone fat cells produce, called leptin, would come into. So now the brain cannot see the leptin, therefore cannot measure how much fat is in the body. So it's literally being robbed of calories, put into storage it can't access, it can't see, it doesn't know how much is in there. So then the brain thinks you're fucking starving, because it's like, where's all, it sees the energy being expelled, expended, and it sees the lack of calories, some huge biological process going on, and it's just using a bunch of energy. It's not the process itself, it's that the process is producing, taking calories and putting them into lipids and cholesterol and stuffing them into these fat sacs that are being produced and then locking them away. And then the brain can't see it, so it's like, dude, you need to fucking eat, we're dying here. And so this person does their best to not shove their face full of food all day, and their body is literally telling them, screaming, their brain is screaming at the end of the day, we're starving, you dumb fuck. You need to get a piece of fat and shove it down your face, like rich food now. So what happens? They eat things that are available in the modern world. Ice cream, any sort of snack food that triggers a fat satiation, right? That doesn't really do anything. But that's a vector for these chemicals. If you're buying cheap shit at the gas station, any food at the gas station has been rubbed, soaked, is totally contaminated with these things. And way more. Like BPA is like almost it's like it's gonna fucking kill you. And the fat is just what you see. The obesity. BPA, I mean, like, there's chemicals in this food that you can't even fathom. It's because a lot of the stuff, forget the ag chemicals that people know are going to end up in food. The worst chemicals, no one's planned them to be in food. No one wants, this plastic is not meant for you to chew on. No one has done, they don't do long-term studies on what the tiny bit of BPA you get from this thing does. Because it doesn't kill you in 10 years, they don't, what the fuck are they going to do about it? Turns out, 30 years, it makes you super obese. At any rate, so obese people are literally poisoned. I would venture to say at least 80% of American obesity is obesogenic induced obesity. And if you take sulforaphane, good sulforaphane, or you get rid of the chemicals otherwise, it's very hard to get rid of the chemicals in your life because they're in the fucking air, they're in the water. Anything synthetic you touch, you're getting a little bit of it. Anything you touch synthetic, you get a little bit of it. Certain plastics are not meant, they're never considered to be like, they're not food grade, and so it leaches even more. Specifically clothing. Clothing is not meant to be ingested, but it turns out when you sweat in polyester, this sweat becomes a conduit and supercharges the extraction of BPA from the polyester into your bloodstream. You're not supposed to have to do a cycling class in a sauna with a weighted vest to stay skinny in America. That's not normal. That's not normal. You should be able to walk around and eat food and need nothing more than a cigarette. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when we go to Europe, people's GI issues go away. Americans' GI issues go away. And they eat whatever the fuck they want. Because the chemical ecosystem is 10 times better. And it has been forever. In America, we just started caring. The reason you have so many obese people of certain classes in America, economic, socioeconomic, because those things are tied together, is because their parents had to eat cheap food, like canned food, and it was leaching BPA, which produces transgenerational obesity. It's insane. Just one chemical, just one of the 50 obesogens, just 50 of 1,000 known hormone disruptors sold in America, probably of 10,000 total toxic chemicals that are just been used for too long. They don't degrade. 2.6 trillion pounds of chemicals a year made in the world. What? Where does that go? It literally goes into us. Where could it go? In the water, soil, in the food, in everything we touch, everything in us. And so, where do we think the infertility rate is coming from? Everyone's like, oh my God, infertility. Anything like that is a hormone issue. You can track one, like I bet you BPA alone is a large percentage of that issue. But these hormone disruptors, so I know it sounds apocalyptic, because it is, and I'm not the one doing it, so don't get fucking mad at me. I have a solution, at least, for the cell, your cells. I don't know how the fuck RFK is going to get assassinated before he fucking cleans up the global chemical economy, marketplace. Our entire modern life is built on these chemicals, these products, these cheap products too. And we can find, take, 10, 30, 100 years to figure this out, because first we got to find all the chemicals that are the worst, and then we have to get all the ones that we can out immediately, and then we have to find replacements for everything we need to find replacements for, and then we get to a place where the economy is clean, the global chemical trade is cleaned up. Then we have to wait for everything to degrade in the fucking planet. Like, how long is the ocean going to take to clean up? They stopped today making plastic. You know how much plastic is on its way to the ocean? I mean, it's like fucking insane. So where do we think is happening? We can't just piss in our own house this long and like be like, oh, why does it smell like shit in here? Why do I keep getting sick? Oh, man. And then these fucking losers, like Atia, is like, longevity! And he's just like taking steroids. All these guys are just on nice version of steroids, different soft steroids. And they're like, longevity, yeah, wow. Meanwhile, they're doing horrific shit. And the fact of the matter is, this whole industry, the entire medical community, no one's talking about the chemicals. It's literally the easy button is the chemicals. Oh, Alzheimer's is a midlife disease. Dude, it comes from neurodisruptors. What are we talking about? There's chemicals that clearly fucking cause neurodisruption. With the right exposure and genetics, it ends up being Alzheimer's. For you, it ends up being, it's just inflammation. I'm like, inflammatories. Oh, I'm a little inflamed. Dude, inflammatories are razor blades. When you get cut, that's what they mean by, that's what medical people mean by inflammation, is the swelling that occurs after you're healing from a cut. That's inflammation. When you eat inflammatories, you're literally just eating barbed wire balls. That's what the molecules are doing to your body. And they just slam it around and cut everything up. And then it goes into the same, certain chemicals damage certain types of cells, tissue in a human body. And depending on their certain genetics, there was, it turns into one thing predominantly for that person. But everyone's exposed to a baseline of chemicals, and then their own occupation and their own economic level, geography and money. It determines what chemicals you're exposed to, lifestyle fundamentally, and then your genetics. And that's it. What the fuck are we supposed to do? While we clean it up, God willing we do, our goal is to make it a goddamn issue and clean it up. Start the conversation, force people to clean it up. We're talking to the government right now because it would save American taxpayers trillions of dollars if we could reduce chronic disease. It's like the most important thing for the budget. You want more bombs? Hey, boomers, you guys want more bombs? Grow sulforaphane. get sulforaphane to the 10% most expensive chronically ill Medicare and Medicaid recipients, or clean their cells. It seems like, so sulforaphane is a class of molecules. Ours comes from plants, but they're called like NRF2 activators. They activate the anti-inflammatory systems of the body. This is super important. It's the most potent natural one, and there's supposed to be 2 stronger synthetics, but I don't believe in synthetics. I know they're important in like emergencies, but like if you can get the natural molecule, it seems to have a lower risk profile and a higher wider spectrum of benefits. I don't know. Anyway, I have a hammer. This is my nail. The sulforaphane activates the NRF2 system, and it expresses genes. Genes print proteins. They shoot out, the different gene produces a different protein. That protein is designed by the gene, by the creator of the fucking simulation to do a certain task. And so sulforaphane activates over 250 genes, but 60 of them are cytoprotective. They are meant to protect cytos, cells. And so they are in this anti-inflammatory bundle, and they go and they remove things that are cutting up your cells, and they increase systems to repair the damage, something like that. But it's getting rid of the shit that is the most important thing. So as soon as you get rid of the chronic chemical exposure, symptoms reduce immediately, because it's from a low grade, typically decades of fucking, right? Friction. And in the case of obesity, which is just the unchecked hijacking, it's the hijacking of calories. The hiding of calories, basically. You get, you can see the result immediately. Weight is a very obvious thing. And so our, people are losing weight on this thing. It wouldn't surprise me that once we get our shit dialed in, you can lose a pound a week, realistically, the average American. The cool thing about sulforaphane, especially our formulation, which just maximizes absorption, basically, while only including ingredients we've grown ourselves. So our 2 ingredients in our sulforaphane blend is a broccoli and a radish mix, powderized mix, plant material. That's it. They mix together in fruit juice and they turn it into gym juice, we call it. Because sulforaphane, typically you'd have to inject 100% pure sulforaphane in a rat to get enough sulforaphane into its body to see results. That's very uncomfortable and very expensive. A vial of 100 milligrams of sulforaphane is $1,200. But that's at the discount price of volume. 1 pouch of ours, which I have written down, has well over 100 milligrams of sulforaphane, and it retails for $40. It's like, are you out of your mind? And it has all these other benefits, but specifically it protects against weight gain. It ameliorates the effects of BPA-induced obesity specifically, and obesogenic molecules. It's very good at getting rid of shit that doesn't belong there. And it has tons of anti-obesity. It browns white fat to get them ready to be burned. It increases natural gut biome that's good for you. It's specifically a GLP-1 producing bacteria. It decreases other unnatural biomes that are bad for you that they secrete inflammatories, and they're the ones craving shit. Your sugar craving is coming from your bacteria colony, not you. Sorry. So it just like burns those away. It increases stamina and skeletal muscular strength, and speeds up recovery time from soreness. Because soreness is an inflammatory, your muscles secrete it, and it needs to get out of there, and it just helps get rid of stuff that doesn't belong there, which is like most of our problems. God bless. So, very important molecule. It's great for anyone who has a ton of extra weight or wants to get into shape, and by working out, wants their workouts to matter. I see people on TikTok doing, this girl was like, before Orange Theory, after Orange Theory. And like, she thinks it's so funny. God bless her heart. She thinks people care about the before after. They just like how she looks. And so she could do anything and it would get this amount of views. But she's on this Orange Theory, before Orange Theory, after. And she doesn't look different, ever. These classes aren't doing anything for anybody. You have to work out like a psycho for a year to see any results. Because you're fighting, and then guess what? She's in synthetic everything. And then, dude, it's even if it recycles, it's even worse, by the way. Recycled polyester fabric. So crunchy granola leggings are even worse for you. It's like great. But if you want to actually see results from all that hard work you're doing, you gotta get the obesogens out of the way, and then it helps with the exercise too. And then anyone who's like super into working out, this will be like a very natural PED for you to help get you back and recover faster and get more out of your workouts. So everywhere across the spectrum, no matter how fit you are, there's a benefit of sulforaphane for you. And for those who are just morbidly obese, this is the easiest way to lose weight in the history of the world. Because you have BPA-induced obesity. If you have BPA-induced obesity, you just remove the BPA and you're off to the races. The fat starts melting off, plus everything else sulforaphane does to help you. So, great long-term solution. And hope to see you in the next video.